Dare to Dream Big, Giving Young Dancers a Voice is a dance festival coming up this month. It's a dance performance coming up this month at BAM's Fisher Theater. On May 24th, you can experience the work of New York choreographer Earl Mosley in a celebration of diversity in dance, plus a special tribute to New York City public advocate Letitia James. Before we hear more, let's see a little bit of Earl Mosley's work.
I decided to start the Hearts of Men because I felt there was a need to really mentor the younger men and help them to understand that myself, as an older artist, understands what they're going through.
Hearts of Men has been a space that allows me to be myself.
I feel as though it's going to help me grow as a dancer and even a person.
We're just all men coming together, becoming friends, and dancing.
I've never seen this. I've never been a part of it, and it's just something that's not happening. There's a magic in it. It's like powerful.
This program means a rebirth. Mr. Mosley found me, hanging onto the coffin. He gave me a new life.
Here, men are able to be vulnerable. They're able to not be concerned with how they're walking, how they're talking, if they're showing affection toward each other. And I think that's what really creates a brotherhood. We don't look alike, we don't talk alike, and I accept you.
The show can dance. Well, next week's event is being co-sponsored by the Brooklyn Arts Company, whose creative director we happen to know. Tamia Santana joins us again. Welcome back to BK Live.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're also happy to be joined by choreographer Clifton Brown, who's also the lead dancer in the Mosley work. Oh, Mr. Lead Dancer, thanks for taking some time off rehearsing to
One of the dancers.
join us.
One of many lead dancers.
One of many leads, so I like that. Tamia, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit more about Brooklyn Arts and how you got involved in co-sponsoring this event.
The Brooklyn Arts is really passionate about bringing works that I and my partner believe in, wanting to be seen. I mean, just following that last footage that we saw about how many young and old males Earl is mentoring, it's so important. When we have a place to go, when we have people who care for us, when we have an art, when we have a discipline, when we have a place to express it, it's invaluable and it changes lives. I really do believe the work that I am presenting this year is very healing, and we all need it. I saw Earl Mosley's work 3 years ago, and it really touched me. I believe that he choreographs for all of us. Sometimes dancers can get caught in just choreographing for dancers, so lots of legs and lots of turns, and his work is very meaningful, and I believe that it should be shared with as many people as possible. So I'm seeing in concert dance, sometimes it's difficult for artists to break into large institutions. They sometimes present the same things over and over. And there's
a lot of legs and turns.
Well, yeah, yes. But there's a lot going on in New York. There's a lot happening. And when I watch his work, I feel like we peer into the future of dance.
Very cool. And now it's on a big stage, too, at BAM. So, Clifton, we saw one gentleman talk about holding on to the coffin, and you are decidedly on the other end of that spectrum. So what's it been like in process to fellowship and work with people who are at several different points in their careers?
Well, that's one of the main things that I think that Earl Mosley and Diversity of Dance does. That particular video that we saw was from something that's in the umbrella term of diversity of dance. There are a few things, but one of them is that program called Hearts of Men, and it's very much about providing positive male role models, because lots of times in dance there's not a lot of intergenerational work. So on both ends, Dudley Williams, who you saw speaking, who is a legend and is unfortunately no longer with us, but it was basically him that inspired Earl to create this. And he was just such a force, even in his elderly years. And he always felt inspired by younger people, like fed off of their energy. And of course, younger people always were like, you know, Dudley is a legend, and he soaked up everything he had to say. And that goes across the board. He's not the only one, although of course he's the catalyst, but there's lots of other more experienced dancers who have done a whole lot in their career who are doing the same, willing to thrive off of younger energy and to teach them and to help them along. And the young people provide their energy and they learn so much. So, and I think it's also, it's life-changing in the way that lots of young male dancers, I think their lives may have taken a very different trajectory if they, and I've seen a lot of different cases, it's something that they latch onto, and otherwise they would not necessarily have anything constructive or anything that they could find their way to either discipline or the next step in their life to, and they don't always become dancers. Sometimes they go on to other fields, but it provides them
those lessons learned.
Right.
Exactly, something that feeds your spirit, I think, is really what they latch onto, whereas they might not have found something that was so drawing to them that would give them the tools to go on to take the next step, to have a career, a future in whatever they decide.
Clifton, you were with Ailey for a long time. How is this experience different?
Well, actually, I've been with Earl since I started with Ailey, so I've been along for the entire ride. So I've always kind of been doing both, but it's very different in that it's hard to say, but it's more hands-on than you would get with an experience with Alvin Ailey, although Alvin Ailey is an incredible experience and has kind of all facets. There is a more hands-on portion to it, but there's also a much more established kind of proscenium stage thing where it's on a grand scope. But I would say that Earl, and of course it always comes from the top down, and the community that he's built, everything is about people. Like it's about actually getting in with your hands and working with people. It's not about just building dancers. It's about feeding people's spirits. And of course, the dance is also at a very high level. He would not want me to be on here saying, "Oh, we just like like to get people a good time," because that's not
just
true.
Just having a good time.
No, not at all.
We can see that.
Yeah.
It happens. Yeah. But it is very hard work and it's very serious training.
Yeah.
And you see that in Earl Mosley's Institute of the Arts, or EMEA, and that's another thing under the umbrella of Earl Mosley's Diversity of Dance. That's the summer program, and that is based on youth. That's high school and college age students, and at this point we've been around 12 years, and so many people have come through and gone on to careers with Alvin Ailey, with other, like plenty of other companies, with Limon, with lots of companies, and it's because of the amount of training that they get, purely in dance. But of course, it's, you know, everything feeds everything else, and you know, you have to work with the entire person. So, like I said, it does create great dancers because it is very serious dance training, but it also creates better people, you know. It gives you tools to go on to do whatever it is that you want to do.
So Tamia, we know that Brooklyn Arts has had a wildly successful concert series.
Yes.
And now you're following up with the dance program. How did you get all those balls in the air? Why dance now after the concerts?
Well, the concert has been mostly dedicated to dance. We had a youth performance presenting 100 youth a couple weeks ago, and we had Kristen Sudeikis, who's also a Brooklynite and a choreographer. She had a sold-out show on Saturday at Bam Fisher. And now finishing with Diversity of Dance Wednesday, May 24th.
Okay, I think we've got a poster
That's right.
somewhere.
Yeah, let us know about the ticketing info.
Yeah, so at emea.org and BK Arts Presents, you can get a ticket link to buy tickets. This work is very important. We're all dancers. It's a firm belief that we are all meant to sing and dance. And so this work is also meant to be seen. And so I sort of think about it, if Picasso had painted all these pictures, but they were locked in a basement, when we connect to it, we're changed when we see his work. It's the same thing when you go view these people's work and their concert. Like,
Absolutely.
You have to buy a ticket and go.
So 524 EMEAarts.com or EMEA.com?
EMEAdance.com. .org.
Go be
All on
changed.
the website, EMEAdance.org, but make sure you're in the place. 524. Thank you both for being
That's
here.
right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Do you say break a leg to a dancer?
Yes.
Yes, you do.
Okay, do that.